Hello students, I think you all are fine and safe at home and taking all precautionary and preventive measures. Before explaining the topic on constitution, I want you to think, what is constitution? Now, getting into it, suppose you are not allowed to run in corridors and not allowed to speak in meetings. There are many rules and regulations in a school. These laws of a school are known as school constitution. So let's see how India governs and what are the laws of Indian constitution. I will tell you about the Constitution of India.
Children, now I enlightened you on the importance of Constitution of India. Now first we will define what is Constitution. A constitution is a set of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a state or other organization is governed. Here the meaning of precedents is an earlier event or a previous case. So there are certain basic rules that the citizens and the government have to follow. All such rules together are called Constitution. In our next slide, we need a constitution. So, why do we need it? As we need a constitution because we need a government to protect our natural rights of life, liberty and property. The constitution is the fundamental law written which the government must operate. So the constitution provides a set of written rules under which the government is to operate. So the document lays down the framework demarcating fundamental political code, structure, procedures, powers and duties of government institutions, and sets out fundamental rights, directive principles and duties of citizens. Here are some points before you. I'll read it out to you. It generates trust that is necessary for different kinds of people to live together. It specifies how the government will be constituted, which means who will have the power and what decision will they be responsible for. It lays down limitations on the powers of the government and makes the citizens aware of the rights. It expresses the aspirations of the people for building a good society. It defines the nature of political system of a country. It provides a set of rules that allow the minimal coordination amongst members of society. It enables the government to fulfill the separation of a society and create condition for just society. That is why I need a constitution. So coming to the basic features of the constitution, as Indian constitution is unique. It is a healthy synthesis of the world's best democratic constitutions. Fathers of our constitutions have tried to learn from the experience of other nations. They adopted certain features of the constitutions of UK, USA, Ireland, Canada after suitably modifying these to suit Indian conditions. So, the characteristics of Indian Constitution is here. the Constitution of India has some distinct and unique features as compared to other constitutions of the world. Dr. Ambedkar, the chairman of the drafting committee, puts it, the framers had tried to accumulate and accommodate the best features of the other constitutions, keeping in view the peculiar problems and needs of our country. So the main characteristics are here of our constitution. First one is before you, the longest written constitution. Our constitution is a written document. It was adopted, enacted and given us by our Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. We have 395 articles and 12 schedules in it, and it is further divided into 22 parts. It is partly rigid and flexible. It means some articles can be amended by simple majority of vote in the parliament, but some other articles can be amended by 2/3 majority in both houses of the parliament. So, the third point, R is a democratic republic. Democratic means it is a democratic as the government is elected by the people directly after every 5 years. And republic, it is a republic because the head of the state in India, namely president, is elected for 5 years by the members of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Coming to the parliamentary system of government, the constitution provides for the parliamentary form of government at the center and in the states. And as such, the president and the state governors are nominal heads of the executive. The real power is vested in the Council of Ministers, headed by Prime Minister at the center and the Chief Ministers in the states. A federation. Federation means a federal government. In federal government, there are two sets of government, that is the union government and the state governments. The constitution specifies to both the sets of government clearly marked areas of functioning. Coming to fundamental rights, is the basic human rights of all citizens. These rights are defined in part 3rd of the Constitution. We can say it is an elementary rights of individuals which are necessary for the development of their facilities. We have different types of right like right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and the right to constitutional remedies. All these rights are enforceable in the courts of law and are protected by judiciary. Now, coming to directive principle of the state policy. These principles give direction to the state to undertake certain policies and programs for the welfare of the people. The purpose of the directive principle is to solve the problems of and the challenges of our country. Fundamental duties. It is a moral obligations of all the citizens to help or promote a spirit of patriotism and to uphold the unity of India. These duties set out in part 4th A of our Constitution. Secular states means a state where there is no state religion in, like in India. An independent judiciary. The judiciary in our country is independent. Judges cannot be removed except through impeachment. They have a fixed tenure and can function independently. Single citizenship. As we all know, we are born in India, so we are the Indian citizen and we have a single citizenship as we are Indians. Here let us read the preamble of our constitution. The preamble of the constitution reads like a poem on democracy. It contains the philosophy on which the entire constitution has been built. It provides a standard to examine and evaluate any law and action of government to find out whether it is good or bad. It is the soul of the Indian Constitution. That is, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens, that is, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity in our Constituent Assembly. Preamble. The preamble can be referred to as the preface, which highlights the essence of the entire constitution. It was adopted on 26 November 1949 by the Constituent Assembly and came into effect from 26 January 1950. The preamble to the Constitution of India is a brief introductory statement that sets out the guiding purpose and principle of the document. It means the preamble contains the ideals and the basic principles of the Indian Constitution. The preamble is not a part of the Constitution, but it has been described as the key to the Constitution. It is not enforceable by the court of law. Preamble serves as a guiding light for the Constitution. Here is the meaning. The first words of the preamble, "we the people," signifies that the power is ultimately vested in the hands of the people of India. So far, the preamble has been amended only once in 1976 by the 42nd Amendment, which inserted the words socialism, secularism, and integrity. A brief description of these concepts is given in the following slides. Sovereign. What is the meaning of sovereign here? The word sovereign means supreme or independence. India is internally and externally sovereign. Externally, free from the control of any foreign power, and internally, it has a free government which is directly elected by the people and makes law that govern the people. It means people have supreme right to make decisions on internal as well as external matters. No external power can dictate the government of India. Socialist. Even before the term was added by the 22nd Amendment, 1976, the Constitution had a socialist content in the form of certain directive principles of state policy. The term socialist here means democratic socialism, that is, achievement of socialistic goals through democratic, evolutionary, and non-violent means. It means wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by society. Government should regulate the ownership of land and industry to reduce socio-economic inequalities. Coming to the point in the preamble, that is secular. Secular means the relationship between the government and the people, which is determined according to constitution and law. By the 42nd Amendment, the term secular was also incorporated in the preamble. Secularism is the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. The government respects all religion. It means citizens have complete freedom to follow any religion, but there is no official religion. Government treats all religious beliefs and practices with equal respect. Coming to democratic feature, the first part of the preamble, we the people of India, and its last part, give to ourselves this constitution, clearly indicate the democratic spirit involved even in the constitution. India is a democracy. The people of India elect their government at all levels, that is union, state and local, by a system popularly known as one man, one vote. It means a form of government where people enjoy equal political rights, elect their rulers and hold them accountable. The government is run according to some basic rules. Coming to another feature of our preamble, that is republic. As opposed to a monarchy in which the head of the state is appointed on hereditary basis for a lifetime or until he abdicates from the throne, a democratic republic is an entity in which the head of the state is elected directly or indirectly for a fixed tenure. The leader of the state is elected by the people. Here it means the head of the state is an elected person and not a hereditary position. Justice. The term justice in the preamble refers to three varying aspects, that is political, social and economic, which are secured through the different provisions of fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy. It means citizens cannot be discriminated on the grounds of caste, religion and gender. Social inequalities have to be reduced. Government should work for the welfare of all, especially of the disadvantaged group. Here is in front of you is liberty. The ideal of liberty refers to the freedom on the activities of Indian nationals. All the citizens are secured with liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship through the fundamental rights. However, liberty does not mean freedom to. There are no unreasonable restrictions on the citizens in what they think, how they wish to express their thoughts, and the way they wish to follow up their thoughts in action. Equality. This envisages that no sections of a society enjoy special privileges and individuals are provided with adequate opportunities without any discrimination. Again, there are three dimensions of equality, that is political, economic, and civic. It means all are equal before the law. The traditional social inequalities have to be ended. The government should ensure equal opportunity for all. Last is our fraternity. This refers to a feeling of brotherhood and a sense of belonging with the country among its people, which means all of us should behave as we are members of the same family. No one should treat a fellow citizen as inferior. So, these all are features of preambles. Coming to the framing of the Constitution of India. So, the objects behind it is to set up an union of India comprising British India and the princely states, to set up federal form of government with separate state and the central government, to set up democracy in which all power is derived from the people, to protect the integrity of India and the sovereign rights over land, sea and air, to help India attain its rightful place in the world and work for peace and welfare. These are the objectives behind our Constitution. Here are some renowned faces who are all the makers of Indian Constitution. B.R. Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel. Dr. Rajendra Prasad then became the President of the Indian Constituent Assembly. And the father of our Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, that is Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, became the chairman of its drafting committee on December 11, 1946. So, what is all about our Indian Constitution? The Constitution of India is the major law in India. The Constitution is the framework for the political principle, procedures, powers of government officials, etc. It is also the longest constitution in the world. It established the rights, duties, and directive principle of citizens and the procedure and policies of government. The Indian Constitution shows quasi-federal system. As I have already told you about the basic feature of our Constitution is the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are defined as the basic human rights of all citizens. These rights, defined in Part 3 of our Constitution, apply irrespective of race, place of birth, religion, caste, creed, or sex. These are some of the fundamental rights are here before you. Right to equality under Article 14 to 18. Right to freedom under Article 19 to 22. Right against exploitation under Article 23 to 24. Right to freedom of religion, that is Article 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights comes under Article 29 to 30. Right to constitutional remedies, Article 31, 32. New rights are being added here in the Constitution, that is right to life, right to education, which comes under Article 21A. So, coming to our conclusion, we can say the Constitution of our country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all people living together in our country. Constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among people living in a territory and also relationship between the people and the government. A constitution does many things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kind of people to live together. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have the power to take which decisions. Third, it lays down the limits on the powers of the government and tells us what the rights of the citizens are. And last, fourth, it expresses the aspirations of the people about creating a good society. So, that is why the Constitution of India has several distinctive features. Here it is. It is the lengthiest constitution in the world. It is a combination of rigidity and flexibility. It's a quasi-federal system of government. I already told you about the quasi-federal, the division between center and state powers. It is very clearly and precise. It is free from doubts and ambiguity. The Indian Constitution lays emphasis on the rule of law. The Indian Constitution is indispensable to federalism. It properly distributes power between the center and the federal units, that is state or provinces. The Indian Constitution protects the fundamental rights of the individual. Fundamental rights are very essential for the liberty of the individual. It can be unconstitutional to deprive individual of any of these rights. The Indian Constitution protects the interests of the minorities. As the Indian Constitution, it is clear the ruler cannot exercise powers arbitrarily. An Indian Constitution prevents arbitrary and whimsical. Indian Constitution cannot easily cope with the changes taking place of time. With the passage of time, changes take place in the condition of a country. The Constitution needs revision or modification to deal with such changes. A written Constitution, being rigid, is not easily amendable to necessary modification or revision. When an Indian Constitution fails to cope with the march of time and consequent changes in the condition of the country, the people, being angry, revolt against the government. As Indian Constitution gives more importance to written laws, the importance of public opinion decreases. So here I come to an end of my chapter on the Constitution of India. Thank you. Thank you, children.